Hi, it's Manny Bagga with the Bagga team from Royal Page Magna.
And Cameron Bullock with the Buyer's Choice Home Inspections, the A-Team.
Welcome back to week number 9. And week number 9, we're still in the basement. This small utility room has so much to maintain, so much to learn. Hopefully the previous all videos will be more helpful for you to understand whether you're buying, whether you're selling. That'll be more helpful for you. Hey, before we can jump up, I wanted to know that if you're on this channel, make sure subscribe, because every week myself and one of the professional person in the team come back and deliver the valuable information for you to maintain your home. Your home is the most valuable component of your whole life. So, Cameron, what are we talking this week?
We're talking about water heaters.
Wow, before we're gonna start up, I see a lot of homes, they have a one hot water tank, and today we saw 2. Like, tell us a little bit, what is the difference between this tank, or they're both? Tell us.
Okay, so let's start over here. So this tank here is an electric tank.
Oh, wow.
You can tell by the armored cable at the top of the tank here.
Okay.
All right, there's no exhaust like you see over here on this one. So this one here is all electric, okay?
Okay.
So the thing about the electric tanks here, they have heating elements, and that's what these 2 covers are.
2, okay.
So the biggest thing about this tank is if you turn around and happen to have a tank that's low water and you turn these on, you can actually damage these, and these are very expensive to change out. So be aware of that. Most people won't have a problem with that. It's only if you were yourself doing any sort of flushes and that sort of thing.
Okay.
So definitely make sure the tank is full of water when you turn this tank on.
So as long, what is you're trying to say that, hey, make sure the water is in the tank. If it's all dried down, there's no tank, it will collapse. Is that correct?
It's not so much collapse, but the heating elements in here that heat up the water.
Right.
They have no water. The water is kind of like a cooling system for them as well, right? So they give off lots of heat, and by having no water there, they'll just overheat and they'll just burn themselves out.
True.
Okay.
Okay. So that's hot water, and it's also connected to the main home. So, and then what about that? And then so why they use electrical and gas?
It depends on the systems that they have running through the house here. Some of the newer homes that we see, this is all they have in the house.
Okay.
It's just electric, and they're trying to be efficient with the different things that they're using. Instead of using gas, they're using electricity, right? So eco-friendly, so to speak. But to have 2 like this, I'd have to go through the house and take a little bit closer look as to what the different systems that they're using and why they're using it.
Perfect. And I can say 95% of the home, when I go with you as inspections, I see all their gas.
Yes.
And then before we can do that, what is the difference between 40, 50, 60, or 75 gallons? What is that?
It's just a matter of the amount of hot water that you're going to have for the house. It used to be that 40 gallon was the common size tank. Today's standards, they're going to be putting in a minimum of 50 for a 4-person family, and that's just the amount of usage that's being used for hot water in the house. People like that take a little bit longer showers, I guess, now than they did before.
Oh, wow.
So the smaller tank means that you'll run out of hot water faster. The bigger tank, you'll obviously, you could have more people taking showers. You can do a bigger turkey dinner or that sort of thing and have more dishes, and you shouldn't run out of water.
Okay. When you're coming on an inspections, what exactly you test? Like, what do you do?
So for hot water heaters, we're basically looking at the different components. What shape is the tank in? Do we see rust anywhere? Do we see rust around the piping that's on the hot water tanks and stuff like that? Is there any leakage coming from the piping themselves?
Okay.
Is there leakage so this one here is a gas like we were talking about.
Okay.
Is there leakage between the different connection points? I've actually seen where, unfortunately, there was a tenant in the house. He was unhappy that the person was selling. He took a hammer, broke this all apart, but most people don't look up that. So this was in pieces. So that definitely, like, this is an exhaust fan here. So of course, this being broken, it's going to allow for CO gases to come into the house.
Oh my.
Right? So basically you want to make sure that the system is doing everything it's supposed to do. The other thing that we're kind of looking for here as well, we're looking for the discharge tube. This is called a thermal expansion valve here.
Okay.
So this is if the tank overheats Okay, and so that same thing there. If the tank starts to overheat, it causes too much pressure.
I see.
Okay, so then the tank could possibly explode.
Oh, wow.
So what this does is this allows for a certain amount of pressure to happen in the tank, and once it gets past that point, it actually opens up and releases the water so that the tank doesn't cause any problems.
Yeah, I saw that a lot of inspections that if this tube is missing, you mark it down that, hey, that tube need to be put on. And then also another question, so as a maintenance point of view, you always recommend them to drain. Like where is that?
So this little valve at the bottom is a drain valve for the tank. Okay, so basically what a person could do is they could put a shortened garden hose from here to your draining system or your floor drain, and you want to shut your water off, shut your gas off, that sort of thing. Basically make sure the tank is shut off, drain the tank. And what this does, over time these tanks will fill up because once again our water is hard.
Oh, wow.
A lot of minerals and stuff like that. It'll actually fill up the tank with all the minerals and garbage that's left over.
Oh, wow.
By draining, you can actually get rid of a lot of those, and that way your tank will heat better, because otherwise it'll actually fill up with the hardened minerals that are left over.
Oh, I see.
And then it's harder and harder for your tank to fill up or to heat the water.
Perfect.
Now, if a person isn't familiar with doing that, would recommend having them call a professional to come in and do that. Worst case scenario, they can teach you what to do so you can do it in the future. But if you don't do it right and you don't shut things down properly, once again, you can damage the tank, and then that becomes a lot of money to do repairs.
Perfect. I get a lot of times in inspections that, hey, oh, well, this is a 10 years old hot water tank, or it's a 15 years old hot water tank. It's a live their age, and you need to start saving. Is that what is it? Is there any what is that, like a rule?
So, industry standards is about 10 to 15 years here in Alberta.
Okay.
But once again, because of our hard water. Okay. So the hard water, like we said, the minerals is what causes the problems, because they start to fill the bottom of the tank.
Okay.
So it's harder and harder to do its job.
Okay.
Okay. So 10 to 15 years. Now, the oldest tank I've seen is 42 years old.
Wow.
And that was Grandma and Grandpa were living in the house, and you know, they obviously had taken care of things along the way. So once again, depends on how much usage the tank is getting as well. If it's being used and abused every day, it's probably going to wear out faster.
So it means, correct me, so if it's a hot water tank is in working order, you will get a nice hot water. There's nothing wrong to it. Even though that is a 15 years old, it doesn't mean that it's gonna die tomorrow.
Correct.
It can die tomorrow, but nobody knows, but that can last another 30 more years, but you cannot predict. So as a inspector point of view, you indicated that, hey, it's 15 years old, you just start saving money.
Exactly.
But that doesn't mean that, hey, it's gonna die tomorrow. That can last for another 4 or 15 years, as long as you maintain onto it. Last question I have it, what is your temperature control? Like how do you set up those things? And like there's a vacation, there's an on and off and temperature. Can you explain us?
Yeah, so very good question. So this is basically your settings on this tank here. And you can see that we have anywhere from vac to low to hot, very hot.
Right.
So vac means vacation. So if you're gonna go on a vacation for 2 weeks, a month, whatever, it wouldn't be bad to turn this down to vacation.
So it means this one will turn on all the way down till the vacation. So this arrow thing goes straight to the vacation, okay?
Right, so that'd be no different than turning your thermostat down to like 12, 15 degrees Celsius in the summertime, because you're not gonna use your furnace.
And then you turn it onto, what is a normal, like what is the A, B, C, D, and where?
So this is, great. So these are different degrees of the hot. And once again, usually when you move into your house, the professionals, the plumbers, when they set up the tank, they'll set it properly, because what they'll do is they'll look at the manual. The manual is always a great reference to anything when it comes to your mechanical equipment. So exactly.
Like these manuals?
Yep.
Obviously you should have it. If not, then these manuals are very helpful for you to read and indicate it from there, okay?
So they'll set that. Now the thing is, once again, as your tank gets older, and starts getting filled with more and more stuff inside, if you're not draining and stuff like that, you will probably need to start to turn up your temperature along the way, because you're going to need to have more and more heat to give you the same heat what you had originally. Okay, so also on these tanks here, there's a rod that goes down into the tank itself.
Okay.
Okay, and that basically is the sacrificial rod, so to speak. It'll deteriorate over time, and it'll get shorter and shorter. And that's for any sort of issues and problems that you have in the tank. It'll go instead of the tank will get eaten, and so it helps the tank last that much longer. Okay.
Perfect. We have an adjustment there. We have a drainage. We have a pipe. Like, how a normal person need to maintain it? Is there something we already talked about a cleanup? Is there anything else we need to know?
That's probably your biggest thing right there. But like I said, your next thing would be is just check the pipes, make sure that everything it's clean, it's in good condition. Because if we see any corrosion or that sort of thing, that tells us that we have possible leak coming. Okay, so then somebody will need to come and do a fix.
Perfect.
Okay.
Perfect. So hopefully this will be helpful for you. You know that without this hot water tank, you cannot wash your dishes. You cannot take a shower. You cannot even do anything else. A hot water tank is the most important part of this whole home. Let's say, like, if a normal home, what is they going to start saving to how much it costs to replace a hot water tank?
Once again, depends on what you have. If you have an electric water heater, or a gas-powered water heater,
right,
or you have a high efficiency compared to your mid-efficient that we've kind of talked about with the furnaces a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
So there's going to be different expenses to it. Also, if you still have an older home that has the older exhaust systems, and now you're upgrading to a high efficiency, then they're going to have to change out the exhaust system. So anywhere from a couple $1,000s to, and I don't know the top end rate, because it really depends on what needs to be added on to finish off the system.
So basically, correct me if I'm wrong, a normal 40 gallons or a 50 gallons home, starting from $1,500 to upwards like a $3,000, in between that range, kind of fall down. But again, talk to the plumber. He will definitely give you an estimate, but we're just only layman to just giving some estimates that, hey, this is how much you need to cost. But the service wise, there's not very many things you need to do for service plus. But again, if the hot water tank need to be replaced, somewhere $1,500 to upwards $3,000. That's just like small basic one. But if you have like a 75 gallons or you have another thing, then you're adding up more and more and more onto it.
Well, the other thing to add to it too, these are tanks. Now, if you have an on-demand system, once again, that's a whole nother ball of wax. So once again, the best thing to do would be have a plumber come in and chat about the system and what the cost is to replace it if you're needing to do that. These are pretty simple for doing maintenance. Once again, if you have an on-demand system, they do take a little bit more maintenance, so become familiar with your system that you have.
Excellent. Well, here we go. We wrap up the week number 9, hot water, and more hot water tank, because a lot of people, they love to have good hot water shower in their home. So hopefully this tip will be helpful for you. If you guys have any questions, Cameron and his team is really deliver the best inspections in town. If you needed to have any questions or you need to have any general question where you are at your home, and then Cameron is very, very helpful for you. Where are they going to call you, Cameron?
Once again, number is 780-900-9003.
Excellent. So hopefully this tip will be helpful for you. If you think that it is, please share, likes, and comment. That is very important for this segment to encourage us. But if you did not even subscribe to our channel, please do so right now. Hit the bell button, because next week we are bringing our tip number 10. Stay tuned. If you guys have any questions, call us today, 780-431-5615, or visit www.mannybagga.com. See you next week. Love you guys all. Stay blessed.